What's up, everybody? It's Miranda Alcaraz, and this is the More Than Nothing podcast. And it is time. It is the time that so many people have been waiting for. It is the beginning of a new year, not only a new year, but a new decade. And I can't even imagine what kind of goals and resolutions and just life-changing plans you all have in your brains. And even though for the past, I don't know how long we've been doing this podcast, 4 or 5 months, I've been trying my best to convince you to take small steps. Remember that it doesn't have to be something over the top or grand to make long-term changes in your life. I know that all of you right now have some pretty big goals in your mind. So instead of a new episode of the podcast this week, I thought it was important for me to take it back to the very first episode of the More Than Nothing podcast, because my resolution, my goal for all of you is to hold on to those dreams that you have for yourself tight, make those big goals, but remember, at the end of the day, just finding a way to do more than nothing, finding a way to just take small steps, make small changes is really what's going to make the difference. So when 2 weeks into the year rolls around and your plans maybe start to crumble and crack a little bit, hopefully you will have listened to this episode at least once by now. And remember that you can still make progress. You don't have to give up completely, that more than nothing is more than enough. We're going to take it back to the very first episode. I think you all need to hear it again, or if it's your first time, enjoy. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the More Than Nothing podcast. A podcast that I wanted to create with motivation and a major dose of reality that I feel is missing, not only from podcasts, but from the fitness industry in general. I want to help you guys ditch your excuses and find consistency toward your goals, no matter what they are. I'm going to share my experience and the experience of others, but the experience of real people. I'm not going to have a bunch of celebrities on here or famous people or CrossFit Games athletes. That's not who you guys need to hear from, because what they have to say doesn't really apply to you, to be honest. We're going to bring some real people on here who have lives just like yours to share how they're making things work or what they have learned over the years. In this episode, it's just me, but I'm going to talk about More Than Nothing, where it came from and what it means to me, the saying, and the hashtag that is honestly caught on like wildfire, more than I expected. I am, for those of you that might not know me, if you were sent this podcast from someone else or randomly stumbled on it, my name is Miranda Alcaraz. I am a 36 for like a week and a half longer year-old woman, holding on to that 36 years old. I live currently in Vancouver, Washington with my husband and my 2-year-old son. We have a business called Street Parking that is an online fitness community for people who are busy, have hectic lives, travel a lot, and are trying to maintain a healthy and fit lifestyle. I've worked in the fitness industry for almost 20 years now, which is over half my life. And I've traveled a lot, learned a lot, and want to share that with as many people as will listen. More Than Nothing for me was a journey that I guess started when I was little. Since I can remember, I've always tried to do everything. At 7 years old, I was in musicals and plays after school and dance and still trying to get good grades. I was always a great student and everything always had to be perfect, and I always wanted to be doing everything. In junior high and high school, it was student council and choir and cheerleading. And as soon as I could, when I was 15 years old, I got a job and always wanted to do the best and be the best and still, maintain good grades and a social life and everything. And quite honestly, I think I did a pretty good job and did a lot more than
maybe most other little kids, I was always stressed from the moment I started school. I remember I was always constantly stressed, and because I would put myself in these situations of always wanting to do so much. That's just my personality. It's who I am. As an adult, before I graduated college, when I was in college, I remember I would wake up at 5 a.m. and go coach a 6 a.m. spinning class. It was one of the first things I did in the fitness industry. And then I would go to school. I was in school for interior design. And then after school, I worked at a restaurant until midnight. And that was kind of my life. And I trying to maintain a social life and my fitness during that time. And again, I was exhausted and stressed out, but I made it happen. I always made it happen. When I found CrossFit, I got onto the seminar staff and I opened a gym, and I was traveling every weekend and trying to compete in CrossFit and running my gym during the weeks. And I mean, once again, I think I was holding it together, and I kind of had this idea that I could do it all. I could do everything, and I was crushing it, right? The very first time that I learned about the importance of more than nothing, and where the world just told me, hey, Miranda, you can't do everything right now. You're going to have to slow down, was my very first injury, which isn't really an injury. In 2011, I had my appendix almost burst on me. I thought it was a sore muscle. I thought one of my hip flexors was just tight. So I didn't go to the hospital or the doctor. And I got to the point where finally I couldn't even move. And I was taken to the hospital and had to have my appendix taken out that night. And for the first time in my training career, I had never been injured before. And while this wasn't a training injury, I definitely couldn't go do what I was used to doing in the gym. And this is a point where a lot of people hit, and I was trying to be a competitive athlete, but even people who are not trying to be a competitive athlete, they just want to find fitness for their life, and they are trying to make it a part of their lifestyle. At some point, something always happens like this. You get sick, or maybe one of your kids gets sick or something like that. For me, it was the appendix being taken out. And what most people do, and what I've seen over and over and over again, is they just fall off the wagon a little bit and they get a little bit lazy. For me, because I had a goal, I knew that wasn't really what I wanted to do, so I did what I could do. And it looked very different from what I was doing a few days prior before I had this surgery, but I still kept moving. I think I would put a sled around my waist and walk around the parking lot. I was doing a lot of body weight exercises slowly. I for sure took a couple days off, but I did not just assume that because I couldn't do what I was used to or what I thought I needed to do to be competitive. I was able to keep moving and slowly come back. So that was kind of the first time that I was hit with a little bit of dose of reality, especially with my fitness life. Less than a year later, I was hit even stronger with it, because in 2012, I was in a car accident where I broke my neck in two places and I broke my hand. Now I have no use of my hand, and I had to have my C2 and C3 vertebrae fused. And this was like one of the two strongest places where I learned the value of more than nothing, because once again, I wanted to be competitive, and I had to learn how to keep moving and how to not just let that send me into a spiral of just sitting around and being upset that I couldn't do what I wanted to be doing, what I was used to doing. And this one lasted a lot longer, obviously, than the appendix situation. And it taught me as a trainer so much about how to be creative and how to work with people who have injuries, and how to work with people in a motivational way who feel like, like I hurt my elbow, so I can't work out. And that's just so not true. You can always do something. And I didn't have the more than nothing saying in my head yet, but these are all things where I was learning from it. I had a few more little injuries along the way, but I would say where the real idea of more than nothing came was when I was pregnant. When I was pregnant, I was going through a lot in my personal life. I had started a business and I had moved in with Julian, and my body was changing and things were hurting, and don't even get me started on what I learned after Knox was born and running the business. So this is kind of like how the idea of More Than Nothing came for me. And what it really means is there comes a realization at some point for all of us that if you're a real human being with a real life, you cannot do it all of the time. Some days or most days you might feel stuck in your situation and simply think you're incapable of making the changes or continuing to move forward because something is getting in your way. Maybe you're a working mom who wants to take better care of your health, but finding the time to do what the fitness industry would have you believe you need to do seems impossible. We scroll through Instagram and we see these perfect pictures or these programs or these supplements, and either everything is really time consuming or really expensive, or you need a full access to so much equipment or a trainer or whatever it might be. And it just, when you're working and you leave your home at 8 a.m. and you come home at 6 p.m. and you just want to spend some time with your family, and then once they go to bed, you're exhausted, it seems impossible for you to do anything like that to make a change. So you just do nothing. Maybe you're a deployed service member who has dreams of starting like a business or something like that. But right now you're stuck deployed overseas in the middle of the desert somewhere. And how in the world are you supposed to start your t-shirt company or your who knows what company if you're stuck over there, right? Well, that seems impossible. And so you just kind of forget about it and figure, whatever, I'll figure it out when I get home. No matter who you are, you've probably made some mistakes in your life, and your goal is to be a better human being. I know one of my goals is to be a better human being, and I know most of you guys are the same way. And you see these people, again, on social media or on the news or whatever, and they're going to Africa to build a school, or they raised $1 million, or they donated this or that. And you're like, man, like, I would love to do something like that. It's just not realistic. Like, I couldn't get time off work to go to Africa for a month to build a school. Like, I don't have a lot of extra money to donate to these causes, or I don't have a lot of time to do this major fundraiser. Although I would love to help people, it's just not, I don't have time to do something like that. We have this idea that change or improvement or just making our lives better requires a huge overhaul in our lifestyle, a massive amount of time, and like an endless supply of money that none of us have. And so we just do nothing. And that's kind of what this More Than Nothing is about, because what if you just did something, like anything? What if that mom, instead of feeling like she needs to have access to a full gym and hire a trainer and buy $1,000 worth of supplements and all of this stuff, what if she just found 10 minutes 4 times a week and did some bodyweight exercises in her bedroom at the foot of her bed? And she did that over and over again. What if she stopped drinking soda, and then a few weeks later, she added some vegetables into her diet, all while doing these short 10-minute workouts? We're led to believe that that's not enough. And I want to change that for you guys. I know that it's enough, especially if you're just doing nothing right now. The soldier that is deployed, what if instead of just saying, oh, whatever, I can't do anything while I'm here, I have crappy internet access, and I can't, be calling these t-shirt companies or designers and figuring out my t-shirt company, so I'll just wait till I get home. What if instead he was reading some books about how to properly set this thing up, or what other successful businesses have done, or What if he downloaded a few podcasts of people who have gone before and built something like what he wants to build? So he's getting some knowledge that he can then take home and apply the moment he gets home instead of waiting and just putting it on the back burner. What if instead of feeling like you need to fly to Africa for a month to build a school to be a good human being, you just took a couple of your kids' toys and donated them at Christmas time to somebody who doesn't have anything? Literally, what if you just bought a cup of coffee for somebody behind you in line, made that person's day, and then that person takes that forward to someone else, and you have no idea the snowball effect that would create? You don't need to do something so over the top. You just need to be consistent with it. The reality is that in the real world, it's not grand gestures or radical lifestyle shifts leading to lasting change, you guys. I think people prefer to believe that they need to change their entire life. They prefer to believe that they need a lot of money, or that it's just not realistic for them, because if you believe that it's not possible, then you aren't responsible for doing anything about it. If you truly believed that 10 minutes at the foot of your bed, ditching the soda and adding some veggies, if you get to the place where you believe that would make a difference, you would now be responsible for doing it. And if you're not doing it, you really have no excuse, because everyone can find 10 minutes 4 times a week. Everyone can ditch the soda or the beers that you're having every night or the candy that you're getting at the office. Everyone can ditch that. I think people prefer to believe that it's not that easy. And that's why people latch on to these cleanses and these over-the-top diets, because they try them and they are completely unrealistic. And they say, I can't live that way. It was too hard for me. It's just not meant to be for me. This is how I have to live. As soon as you switch your thinking into believing that doing something will get you there with consistency, it's over and over and over again. You can't tell me that a mom, a year of 10-minute workouts where she puts everything into that workout that she can, ditches the soda and adds veggies. You can't tell me that in a year of that every single week that she would see no difference whatsoever and find some motivation to change some other things along the way. It's consistency in these little things that will change your situation. And this, while incredibly simple and possible for literally anyone, is just harder than it sounds. Consistency is harder than doing something over the top for a short amount of time. Consistency is harder than doing something over the top for a short amount of time. It is why so few people reap the benefits of just being consistent. For example, winning the lottery is highly unlikely, but that does not stop people from spending ridiculous amounts of money on lottery tickets over and over again to try to, fix their financial situation. Working hard, having maybe like a little side business that you do after work, saving your money, not spending it on dumb stuff, and just doing that for years is all but guaranteed to put you in a financial situation that's better than the one you're in, but it is really hard, and very few people are willing to do that consistently. January is full of New Year's resolutions, and fitness goals are always there, and so are saving money and those types of goals, and people fall off because it's hard. Blaming the numbers on your lottery ticket for your misery, blaming your work schedule, blaming your genetics, your upbringing is way easier than blaming yourself. Oh, like I have crappy genetics, so I can't lose weight. Okay, well, what are you doing? How have you tried? Oh, I tried this cleanse, but it was too hard to maintain. So now we're blaming the cleanse. Oh, well, what workout plans have you tried? Yeah, I signed up with a trainer, but I don't have a lot of time and it's really expensive. So now we're blaming the money situation. Instead of believing that you can do something about it, because the only person you can blame when you see 10-minute workouts and ditching the soda is yourself. And people like to have other things to blame. And we got to switch that into taking all the responsibility for what we are doing in our lives and what we want and what we're able to do to work toward it on ourselves. Even if our current busy, no financial resources, worn out selves can't do much, we can do something. We can always do more than nothing. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, learning this new skill, taking the time to listen to podcasts, read books. For the love, stop watching Game of Thrones and watch something that's going to help you learn whatever it is that you're trying to learn, or motivate you to do what you're trying to do, or just turn it off completely and go work out or spend time with your family. If those are your goals, you have the time. I guarantee if you write down everything that you do all day long for a week, you'll find it in what you write down. More than nothing is more than enough, and you guys can do it. The plan for this podcast going forward is for me to share with you guys what I've learned through 2 decades in the fitness industry, a job that allowed me to travel literally all over the world. I've been to so many different countries on every continent, unless you count like Antarctica. I've never been to Antarctica. So I've been to almost every single US state, and I want to share you guys my stories of triumph and defeat and relationships and random business ideas. This is not just a fitness podcast. It's just kind of everything that I've learned along the way. Most of it, or a lot of it, will be fitness based, because I know that's what I know. That's what I do. But I've learned a lot. I am a wife and an entrepreneur, and I am somehow randomly comfortable in front of 1,000 people, but extremely awkward in one-on-one social situations or like small parties. I would say I have workaholic tendencies, and I rely heavily on my daily workouts to maintain my sanity. That is one reason that I've found more than nothing, is because when I get busy, if I don't work out, it is not good for anyone close to me involved at all. My son and the members of the online fitness community that I mentioned before that I have in street parking with my husband, they forced me to change in so many ways. After my son was born, our business was growing, and it has required me to really embrace this idea of more than nothing. I want to interview real people, not celebrities, and share with you guys the people who have inspired me, changed me, because I know that they will inspire and change you too. More than nothing, kind of going back to when I was pregnant, because I did want to share this with you guys. Julian and I were in a really dark time in our relationship. We were fighting nonstop over some personal stuff. We had just moved in together. I was growing a baby and simultaneously, like I said, trying to grow this business. There were days when I literally wanted nothing to do with him at all. So more than nothing right now, what I'm talking about can also apply to your relationships. The love I had for him and my business and for working out really is what kept me going. But it was barely stronger than the pull to just do nothing at all. So more than nothing for me then, where this was really solidified, was not just, it was for Julian, more than nothing was not leaving completely, just staying. Just stay. Just give him a kiss goodnight. That's more than nothing. That's like the level of effort that I was in at the time. For business, it was spending 5 more minutes answering emails. So for you, maybe you're a busy person and you're like, there's no way I'm going to be able to catch up with all these emails. You're not going to be able to catch up with all of them, but you can do 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes will make it 5 less minutes tomorrow, and then 5 more minutes tomorrow will make it 10 total. You guys see where I'm going with this. I knew I needed hours, but it just wasn't going to happen. When I was pregnant, the fitness more than nothing was literally sitting on the assault bike in my garage, crying my eyes out for 10 minutes. And that is all that I did. That happened multiple times when I was pregnant. But I was so committed to consistency that I showed up. You just have to show up every single day. And now we have a 20-person staff. I have a 2-year-old, 4 dogs, and never enough coffee or sleep, to be honest. I don't even know if it's possible at this point. I don't know what the ratio needs to be of coffee and sleep, but I haven't found it yet. I have become a religious level believer and preacher that everyone can do something every day, which is why we're here on the podcast. So for now, for 3 years now, my workouts have been 45 minutes or less. This is honest. If you follow me on Instagram and you've DM'd me, which I get hundreds of DMs a week asking, what do you do? What's your fitness program? What do you eat? Here it is. They're 45 minutes or less, roughly 5 times a week. I would love to do more. I love working out. I would work out all day long. I used to work out all day long, but I also have more things that I love to do now and more things that I'm passionate about. And I'm not willing to give up my whole day for fitness anymore. So 45 minutes, 5 days a week in my home or in a random hotel room or in Airbnbs for 3 years. That has been my life. And it's actually been amazing to me because it's been enough. And if you would have told me 3 years ago that that was enough, I also wouldn't have believed you. I would have told you you need to do more. I would have told you you needed hours and you needed something over the top and you needed a full gym. I have learned that this is enough at the same time as all the street parking members. I've maintained a much greater level of fitness than I could have imagined was even possible doing this a few years ago. It's still surprising to me, but since I've learned it, I'm so passionate in sharing it with you guys. This attitude has spilled over into my relationship, to understanding that we don't need, to be honest, I am going on vacation tomorrow with my husband, but it's been 3 years since we've done that. And what we've learned in being so busy is we don't need these over the top vacations and we don't need these crazy dates. We do go on a date night, but it's like dinner or a movie and it's more than nothing, just some small effort daily that we're putting into our relationships. 10 minutes here or there, a coffee date, making sure we kiss each other good morning and good night, consistent effort and not over the top gestures. Just daily putting pennies in the bank every single day. You'll be amazed at how quickly that adds up. For a mom, this is the hardest area for me with more than nothing. Still, I really struggle with this. I never dreamed that I would be sitting in coffee shops working, jealous of stay-at-home moms who are having like a little lunch date with their kid. I look at them and I'm so jealous of the time that they're getting with their kid. And that is not something I ever imagined that I would struggle with because, like I mentioned before, I've always been this like do everything, work hard, workaholic almost type of personality. I didn't think it would bother me, but it does. And the tug for me to be 100% mom all the time has been really, really difficult for me to overcome. Knox has taught me that my undivided attention while he eats breakfast and while we do bath time at night and while we put him to sleep is enough for me to be a good mom. He taught me that taking an hour out of my day once or twice a week to take him to swimming class or gymnastics is enough for me to be a good mom. Learning to to watch my mother-in-law who watches him every day, learning to just watch and allow her to take care of him and trust that's going to be the best thing for him so that he can watch myself and my husband grow this community and build something so meaningful and beautiful is me being a good mom, because he gets to watch our work ethic and he gets to watch this community and he gets to learn what it means to truly care for taking care of people and doing something meaningful. And that is what Knox has taught me so much. So that's what more than nothing is to me. And I challenge you guys today that if you've listened this far, honestly, to choose one thing that you have allowed to slip into like nothing land. One thing, not all the things, okay? Because that's not going to work out for your favor. Pick one thing and commit to one small act daily. So small act, because it's the going over the top that will get you in trouble. I know you won't be able to sustain it, and then you will fall off. So we're talking, set your alarm clock for 10 minutes earlier in the morning. If you want to eventually be a morning person so that you have more time to read or work out or whatever, 5 or 10 minutes. Actually, you know what? Stop the podcast right now and go set your alarm clock for 5 to 10 minutes earlier and then come back. If it's fitness, literally find 5 to 10 minutes. Again, maybe it's that 5 to 10 minutes you woke up early in your schedule, and do some air squats or do some lunges, do some sit-ups, go for a walk even. Do something physical that'll get you on that path of being consistent in moving your body for 5 to 10 minutes. And I don't even want to say 7 days a week, like 4 to 5 days a week at first. No, don't even try to do more than 10 minutes. Let's find consistency with the 10 minutes first. If you're trying to learn something or grow something, use those 5 to 10 minutes to read or listen to a podcast or write down your plan, and actually a plan that you're going to do something about, not just another list of a plan, because I know how you guys are, because I'm the same way. I have so many lists. I have lists on my phone. I have lists on my computer. I have lists in 4 different notebooks. Put something in place that you can actually do, spending only 5 to 10 minutes on that thing every day. And if you need to, just go to your garage and jump on your bike or walk around your neighborhood and cry your eyes out like I did. If that's what you need to do, if that's the level that you're at, go do it, and just keep doing it day after day after day after day, and build on it as you go. I hope you guys will join me on this more than nothing journey on this podcast, and I would love to hear your feedback. Have a good day.